Yeah,
no, I can see the driver through this side of it, so we might be able to take a look. But at the rate this is driving right now, we're not going to try and move our position and risk losing this car, because look at that speedometer. This is nearing 90 miles per hour again, and this driver is just so determined to get away. He's veering in and out of this HOV lane, and it is pretty light traffic at this time of day on the southbound 5. So he's got a clear path forward. We're now in Sun Valley, still southbound on the 5 freeway.
All right, so the game plan could be for this driver to get onto the 170 or continue on the 5 freeway there. But again, for anybody who is just tuning in, we're monitoring this pursuit that started around the Magic Mountain area. This driver, according to Julia, has been driving at high rates of speed there, and you can clearly see it. Julia, to me, it looks like the windows are very tinted.
The back windows for sure, but when I zoomed in there, Annabelle, for just a moment, and you can see him veering out of that HOV lane again, not signaling any lane changes, really just no regard for other drivers here. When I zoomed in earlier, I got a clear shot of the driver. I could see their arm, I could see them moving inside, so we are able to see through the front. Again, if there's a window of opportunity for us to get around and take a look on the passenger side, we will try and figure out just how many people are in this SUV. I'm not hearing chatter about passengers, but again, this driver, this pursuit suspect, wanted for burglary. And look at this driving, just straddling that double white line, veering in and out of the HOV lane. And he did miss his opportunity to get on the 170. So this is now heading into Burbank on the 5 freeway, southbound on the 5. And you saw that black and white just over there on the other side of the freeway. Looks like CHP is setting up additional units trying to apprehend this driver, but he is still going. Exceeding 80 miles per hour down the 5.
All right, so we've seen speeds up to 100 miles per hour. We're seeing the driver change lanes, obviously desperate to get away. Robbery suspects are involved here. This all starting at Magic Mountain not too long ago. Julia, you mentioned a spike strip. What are some of the other options that the CHP has at this point, at these speeds, with what we're facing?
Well, they definitely cannot attempt a pit maneuver with the driver going this fast. And there are other cars here. I mean, traffic isn't too heavy. That's what's allowing this driver to drive like that, to veer in and out of all these lanes. But they're definitely not going to try a pit maneuver at these speeds. They did set up spike strips about 15 minutes ago. That was on southbound 5 near the 14. But the driver, I don't believe he drove over the strips. I believe he went around that spike strip. CHP, however, was authorized to do that when this driver was going about 90 miles per hour. You can see now it looks like this is close to 110 miles per hour on our speedometer, and it's just a clear shot down the 5 freeway. When he does come up on other cars, he's just veering into that other lane.
Ass, 100 miles an hour in a station wagon. What is that? SUV?
Side of the southbound 5, not driving like he's impaired. So CHP is having a hard time, I think, of keeping up with him, and we're not seeing any airships. We're not seeing the CHP helicopter over this just yet. I know they did request a helicopter to track this vehicle before they set up the spike strips, and as this continues, I imagine they are going to call for that helicopter, and that's going to show up pretty soon.
Julia, so what do we have looking ahead? I know that traffic is fairly light here, but what do we have coming up ahead?
We've got more freeways. I have a feeling this driver is just going to stay on the 5. He has not crossed over to the right side of the freeway at any point, looking to merge onto a different freeway. But we are in Burbank right now, approaching Glendale. So we've got the 134 coming up. We haven't heard anything about who this driver is and what destination he might have in mind. I think he's just trying to get away. But you do see that ground unit, that CHP unit behind this in hot pursuit. That car has been following very closely behind this entire time. We haven't seen that CHP unit really close the distance between the pursuit driver and themselves. And you see this is still speeding down the 5, exceeding 100 miles per
100
hour.
miles an hour.
Faster. I mean, we might
Robbery
have trouble
suspects
even
don't want to
keeping
get caught
in a helicopter. But look at him go, still 100 miles per hour. And for him to consistently be driving this fast, I mean, this is not possible when there is heavier traffic on the 5. So we'll see how long it is before he does something else and tries to get off the freeway, because he is going to run out of fuel at some point.
Yeah, and if they guzzler too.
And if they run out of, if they were to run out of fuel to get off the freeway, then we would be talking about, other agencies maybe joining in. But I'm just wondering how many CHP officers are behind this driver right now. And secondly, Julia, is this the kind of situation where they might call this off because it gets
like
too dangerous.
Too fast,
now, thankfully, we're not
fast
seeing a
and
whole lot of
furious.
traffic right now out there at the noon hour. But I'm just wondering, like, what are we looking at as far as manpower behind this SUV?
So I'm counting 4 CHP units, at least 4. There's traffic ahead, so we might see this driving behavior finally change. But that's right. I mean, sometimes we do see law enforcement decide to give up on pursuits because it's simply too dangerous. I mean, how many crashes have we seen during pursuits where bystanders, where innocent people are hurt or their property is damaged? But there is traffic up ahead. I'm going to widen out and show you what this driver is in for. And you see him weaving in and out of lanes. He's had a clear shot down the 5 since this started, but we're nearing a patch coming into Glendale, again, near the 5 and the 134, where he's not going to be able to drive the way that he has, exceeding speeds of 90, 100 miles per hour.
All right, so we have here at 1218 a dangerous situation for anybody who is driving on this 5 freeway right here, approaching the 134, the 5 freeway. You see it there. This driver, we've been monitoring it, has been in and out, weaving in and out of these lanes. Fortunately, there wasn't too much traffic, but now, as you're saying, Julia, we are starting to see a little bit more traffic there. And this driver will have to make a decision whether or not he will stay on the 5 freeway or the 134.
That's right. This is slowing down now just a little bit. I mean, still exceeding 60 miles per hour, but you see traffic is really filling in here. And it looks like this driver is going to stay southbound on the 5 freeway. I'm staying tight on this car right now, but behind it, I did count at least 4 CHP vehicles. And again, they did request the airship, their helicopter, so they could be adding additional resources to this pursuit. But at some point, you know, this driver is bound to run out of fuel. So it's just a matter of where he decides to stop and then what he decides to do after that. In slower traffic, I mean, we've seen pursuit drivers give up, get out of their own vehicle, and then carjack somebody else to keep on going. But every time he veers out of that left lane and starts heading toward the right, I zoom in because I want to see if this driver is making moves to get off the freeway or perhaps making moves to pull over. That's one thing we have not seen yet. This driver, this burglary suspect, has not made any moves to give it up. So with that in mind, I think CHP is going to put resources into this and see what they can do to safely apprehend him, because the way he was driving before and the way he's still veering into and out of the shoulder, look at that. Squeezing between other cars. I mean, this is incredibly dangerous for anybody on the road right now.
Is it worth it? Is that worth it?
5. We're in Glendale now, and it looks like this driver decided not to get on the 134, so still southbound 5. And when I zoomed out briefly there earlier, I saw the black and whites, the CHP units on the ground. They didn't have their flashing lights on. So if you're just in traffic, you're not tuned into the news, you don't have your alerts turned on, you may not know there is a pursuit zooming past you right now.
Yeah, you don't know until that
crazy.
person actually goes past you. Then you
could be
see
high.
CHP officers. Julia.
What's up, everybody? Welcome. We got a nice early chase today. Wow, a surprise. A surprise. Thankfully, I'm in between covering the trial. These are robbery suspects driving up to 100 miles an hour, maybe even more. Going nuts. What kind of vehicle? It looks like an SUV. It looks like they're going to lose control. There was a chase recently where a guy, I think he killed, he had hit a pedestrian and dragged the person and they died. So this person's driving like a complete maniac. God knows what he stole. I forgot there was one we covered recently too. The guy, it was some type of really petty theft and somebody died over it.
Traffic people are out and about right now, but boy, you said it when you mentioned that people just aren't going to know what's coming up behind them, and that's where the danger comes in. And you add to that the desperation of the people wanting to get away.
Desperation, yeah. Desperation, drugs.
Yellow line now. I'm looking out the window of News Chopper 4, and I am seeing finally a law enforcement helicopter over this. It's not CHP. It's actually an LAPD airship. So, Kathy, you mentioned earlier multiple agencies possibly getting involved if this continues, and now we had LAPD overhead.
Oh, fuck me. Sorry. Don't touch the button. I won't touch the button. I'm sorry. I thought I was going to put it in higher quality. I will do that again.
Certainly, they've noticed this car because it's moving faster than everybody else, and it is still driving in the shoulder here. But still southbound 5 did not take the 134. It has been on the 5 freeway this entire time, speeding up now. It was doing about 45, 50 miles per hour, and I think this driver now finding this clear path down the shoulder is now driving at about 67
car's
miles
bouncing
per hour.
around.
And Kathy, Annabelle,
he's hitting the brakes.
To you at the desk. We got to take care of some technical issues up here. We will be right back with you.
All right, Julia.
ABC's on the way too. ABC.
Use her image there, but we want to get to Isabel Diaz. She's with the CHP. Isabel, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Isabel, let's talk about the game plan here. We clearly see that this is a dangerous driver weaving in and out of these lanes, and now we're starting to see more traffic on that 5 freeway. What's the game plan?
The safety of the public is always the most important thing, in addition to even the suspect and the officers that are involved in the pursuit.
And Isabel, can you tell us how this all started and what we're looking at right here? Do you have any idea how many people are in this vehicle, or really what started this?
We got another channel too. I like it. I like that.
Notified to be on the lookout of a white SUV involved in a robbery earlier today, and our New Hall units did locate that vehicle and ensued in a pursuit.
Do you have any information where the
that Ford Explorer you see there?
And Ford Explorer, baby.
Long chase. It started in Bakersfield. We've seen this Explorer weaving in and out of traffic upwards of 100 miles an hour. You're looking right now all the way south through Glendale. We've watched them go past Colorado, past the Glendale area. So now they're starting to get into some heavy traffic and moved over into the carpool lane, now almost onto the shoulder, Colleen.
Yeah, anyway, and you can see a lot of traffic here. A lot of us travel this area, and you can see this Ford Explorer moving at a very fast pace, very dangerous for any of these commuters who are very unassuming, expecting anything like this. But you do see that one CHP officer. This has been a very long pursuit, like you just said, starting out of Bakersfield.
Well, we're getting both grand theft and initially we thought it was robbery, but it could be just this stolen vehicle. But we do know that they have been incredibly reckless the way they were driving in and out. Their speeds are going to probably
look at that. Right there. Oh my gosh,
very
dude.
Close to those vehicles and right there on that shoulder. But we've watched them earlier, very high rate of speed. Now they're almost forced to slow down a little bit as they've gotten into much more congestion. But this is almost even more dangerous because of that congestion and the fact that this person is going so much faster than traffic. Earlier, it was high rates of speed, but traffic was going along pretty quickly. But yes, you're right. CHP is right behind them.
Yeah, you know what, Philip, because I know that myself and Larry travel this isn't actually an HOV or a carpool lane. This is the shoulder of the freeway because a lot of us take this 5 every day. We all wish there was an HOV lane. So this person is actually driving on the shoulder, which then makes it even more dangerous because passengers see this car coming right out of them. And again, we're seeing this. You see the congestion. You see the CHP.
Coverage and again,
right there's a contact with that vehicle. And that's the thing, Colleen. The problem is there is no, like you said, there's no shoulder. But that's why he was getting so close, is because there are sections where that shoulder disappears. And it looked like he hit that Kia right there. I believe it was a Kia, the white car.
Shoot, they did.
I did not see that, but again, you can see this driver trying to get away, and then you see that van moving into the shoulder saying, I am not going to be part of any sort of crash here. And again, we know the CHP, they've been very thoughtful with a lot of these pursuits now. So for it to be a grand theft auto makes you want to believe maybe there's a little more serious suspect inside that vehicle. We don't know how many people are inside. We don't know exactly how this originated. We're getting a couple different reports. Grand theft, possible robbery suspect. But again, we know that this person does not want to be pulled over. They've been driving for quite some time if this started in Bakersfield.
And again, you see here, the people are at least aware of the CHP and this person as they get up. See, now you see the acceleration very quickly. They see that spot, that opening, and then they accelerate, and they know CHP is right behind them. They have not really pulled back, but a lot of drivers are giving that right-of-way to this person who is coming up on them at a very high rate of speed. But they're using the shoulder. They're staying over there on the left side. They're now approaching Broadway, it looks like, still southbound 5, and that's the danger part that we keep seeing over on the shoulder, which is an uneven surface, and that could cause that SUV to lose control. CHP doing the same thing, staying right on the backside of this SUV, which keeps coming right close to those, very possibly sideswiping a lot of these cars when he's trying to navigate that shoulder.
Yeah, everyone else is kind of moving over and giving them a wide space. But again, I'm glad to see the CHP there because I know that they could go into tracking mode. But for any of these drivers, you need to hear those lights and sirens coming because a lot of people are listening to podcasts. They're not necessarily knowing exactly what's going on. And so to hear the sirens, to hear this, you're seeing a large SUV barreling.
Oh my God, look at that, another close call. You're not normal. You got to be high. I don't understand how people, and I see people drive like this on a normal basis. How do you drive like this and not think, you know what, I could lose my life. I could crash into smithereens.
Down into this section.
Look at this. How do you not feel anything? You're just numb?
The 5, the 60, the 10, and there's
Look at this
just
guy.
not
a
lot of options for this person to maintain this kind of speed.
The car's bouncing.
It's a little bit uneasy back there.
Yeah.
It just wiggles a little bit. It doesn't look like there's a flat tire or anything. There's never been an opportunity for any kind of spike strip here. But now he is past mission. And again, officers are just staying right on this SUV. And this is a larger vehicle. So you hate to see this kind of speed up against other commuters because contact with this vehicle, there could be a lot of damage. And he has shown incredible recklessness weaving in and out of traffic.
Got traffic.
Now moving over a couple of lanes to the right, getting off of that shoulder.
Yeah, let's talk to Bruce Thomas, our law enforcement expert. Bruce, we always appreciate when you join us for these pursuits. Take a look at this. You can see this Ford Expedition Explorer actually really weaving in and out of the 5 where there is congestion on the freeway. What do you think going through these officers' mind while they are trying? They're not letting this guy go.
No, they're not going to let him go because we are chasing a robbery suspect, which is an egregious felony. Typically, weapons are used in some sort of robbery.
Switching lanes.
The thing with the Ford is it's right on the weight limit for the CHP Explorers to deal with. It's a larger vehicle, so a pit maneuver probably may not be an option at this point.
Would they even want to try any kind of pit maneuver or a spike strip because they're on the freeway? They don't. How do you kind of determine how what this driver's freeway is going to take? Because like Philip said, you're going with the 60, you have the 5, you have several arteries that are going to intersect with the 5 right here.
Yeah, at this point, I think CHP is going to be content to hand off as they go through the different areas, different stations, and chase this guy. They're not going to do anything rash. The guy is already driving, unfortunately, unsafely.
Like a nut.
So they're just going to sit back and just follow him.
Well, right now we've made a change and we're going 10 westbound.
So the live stream.
The possibility here is that traffic might start to lighten, which would mean speeds would pick up a little bit for this person. This Ford Explorer is able to move it depending on the engine size of this one. Sometimes these can have a V8. This is a V6 probably, but this person can move pretty quickly. Bruce, just for people to understand the difference in charges, in many cases, a robbery will be a weapon would be involved. Burglary, in many cases, a weapon is not involved. Am I correct on that? And that goes to your point. And there's another contact with a vehicle. So again, we've got this person.
Oh, he hit him. I think he hit him.
To use
I think he hit him.
The vehicle as a weapon. So to clarify what I was talking about, if we're talking about robbery versus burglary, that might also be one thing that the officers are talking about: weapon versus no weapon, burglary versus robbery.
What?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, yes, I'm sorry, Colleen.
No,
yes,
I'm sorry.
They are felonies. However, robbery just puts it at a higher level. And typically, robbery, it could be anything from a strong arm or to a weapon, but it is a felony crime.
Yeah, and right now you just see that this suspect is sort of a bully on the freeway as well, just kind of intimidating, trying to push that one white sort of compact SUV. I don't know what I would do. I would ask you, what do you do? I would naturally, I'm a complete wimp. I would move over. I don't want any part of this thing.
Yeah, I'm wondering why he needs to ram into the back of a vehicle right there when
he can
definitely weave through the traffic and go into another lane lane and go around cars. Instead, he was bumping the bumper of that white sedan, as we saw, and I don't know what happened to that driver. Thankfully,
y'all want Stu? Y'all say y'all want Stu?
Not a lot of damage. Hopefully, they're okay. No whiplash.
Oh, wait,
you can see the back window, it looks like, of the Expedition down a little bit. But what I'm noticing too, and Stu, you were mentioning the erratic driving of this, but kind of the bouncing nature of the Expedition, the back end is kind of bouncing. Is that because it's going so fast, or it's not really even going?
All right, we got
really
ABC and Fox, baby.
Yeah, you know, it might
Look
be
at this
something
guy.
with that
We'll get a better view with Fox. Look at this guy. What a nut!
Truck, that is for sure. Who knows what's wrong with the rear shocks? Maybe they tried to modify the truck at one point. Can't really say, but very good eye indeed. I noticed that earlier on too. It's kind of got that rear bounce, like somebody had taken the shocks out of the back, and it's just riding on the springs. California Highway Patrol, they are still here in force. They've kind of handed it off to other divisions as they're making their way south out here. But I keep hearing them talking about Altadena is the ones that are in it for the go, meaning that it might be their car. It might be their car that they have been chasing the entire time. That doesn't really make sense to me because it started on the 5 freeway up in like Santa Clarita. And I don't know, maybe Altadena was following this vehicle at one time, but right now still trying to keep those high speeds up, zipping through passing cars out there. He might be going 57, but look how quickly he passes when he does. Those other vehicles probably just going about 30, maybe 20 miles an hour, dipping back into that emergency lane. He's staying on the freeway. That's the only thing that I can say maybe part of a positive out here, because there aren't a lot of intersections. There's no traffic signals, nothing like that, or pedestrians for that matter. But right now, these high speeds still always worry me.
He just took out a side mirror from that other car or his own car. Right there as he travels along the emergency lane. But you could see all these vehicles in the fast lane saying, what is going on, trying to move over. But I did see some plastic and glass flying, so definitely took out a mirror at some point. I don't know if we could see the other side of that or if it was that black car that he kind of scraped against. But really erratic driving here, even though it's not super high speeds that we're watching, but a lot of braking and then speeding up, weaving, going in and out of traffic, and then bumping into a car for no reason when he could go around. But clearly not the sight you want to see, as traffic is kind of slow and going at a relatively calm pace. And then you see this guy in the white Expedition, kind of making these weird moves.
I'm trying to follow him too.
Yep, as we go under the highway.
So this is one of the ones where, he went underneath. He's on that low side. We're going to come over here. Maybe he pops out on the other side. My pilot says he sees him, so that's got to be him right there. Woo! Okay, that took a load off my mind.
But
sorry.
Look at how bouncy it is. Like, the back of that car bouncing is just so odd.
It is. It's definitely, I can tell you there's probably no shocks, or the shocks are completely worn out, and it's just riding on the springs back there. That's also going to affect the performance of the vehicle, especially if he's going to start making high turns, or if he gets off the freeway and starts getting onto side streets. Anytime he goes through an intersection, that rear end might get air. You can see that mirror right there. That's what you were asking about earlier on. It looks like he damaged his own. Any of those folks that are being hit by this vehicle,
100 miles an hour,
make some sort of call to 911 or try to report it, so they will know that law enforcement will tell them that it probably was a vehicle they were pursuing or in pursuit of that actually made contact with their vehicle. Hopefully everybody is okay. Probably more nerves than anything else, and less than the damage to the vehicle. Right now, though, they're still moving along. These speeds are still up there. Oh, look at that, getting really close. And just a little bit off will create a collision out there, and that could change everything in a heartbeat. And we've seen it in the past, and I don't want to see something like that again. This SUV still moving out here, still, like you said, not super fast, but 60 miles an hour when everybody else is going about 20 or 30. That's quite a big difference. And again, this is a burglary suspect. California Highway Patrol in pursuit. Law enforcement above is going to be California Highway Patrol and LAPD. And of course, the officers on the ground trying to warn the public the best they can, lights and sirens, and just stay in there and nearby. Hopefully when this vehicle comes to a stop, they'll be able to take that suspect into custody quickly without any incident or having to call any kind of emergency vehicles.
Yeah, we certainly hope that's the case, but you never know with this type of situation, as we've seen so many times, because you just don't know the mindset of the driver behind that wheel. And as you mentioned, it is a robbery suspect, but this initially took place in Santa Clarita, and now we're all the way over here in downtown LA. So clearly this has been going on for at least 30 minutes or so, right, as this person hopped into the white Expedition there. Unknown why this person is driving this way and why the vehicle.
Grand theft suspect, vehicle reportedly stolen in Bakersfield. Driver may be armed. Wow.
In the back, but clearly trying to get away from whatever it is he's running from. But again, starting in the Santa Clarita area, Stu.
Definitely, that's the area that we heard about it. Actually, I got a little bit heads up that this was going on. Was trying to. It's a long story about how we gather news, but we did get heads up. I wanted to get confirmation. Our assignment desk got the confirmation before I did, and we were on the go as quickly as possible. But again, we don't know the backstory. We're hearing this is a burglary suspect. Maybe it was some sort of undercover something or another going on, and when they tried to pull him over, lights and sirens, that's when this person or the suspect decided to just go instead of stop. And we don't know. We don't know what other warrants this person might have, or maybe there's other issues, not just the original burglary suspect. But right now the issue is these high speeds, tight quarters, a lot of other civilians out here on the roadway. California Highway Patrol tasked with safety and bringing this thing to a stop. That's a lot on their shoulders. But right now they're handling that pretty well. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you got a number, and that's not because I can't count that high. It's just there is a number of officers there behind them, and one of the reasons why also is when this comes to an end, they want to be able to spread out if there is a foot chase, get ahead of this, maybe box them in if need be. But right now just seems to be unusually high speeds, even though I'm looking at it saying it's 30 miles an hour. People might be just tuning in saying, what is this guy talking about? He's going 30. But he's been going extremely higher speeds than what the vehicles on the roadway have been doing.
Right.
And of course, California Highway Patrol, they're not going to be able to pull a pit maneuver in any kind of traffic.
Yeah, and if you're just joining us, we are looking at this white Expedition making its way on the 10 freeway westbound, but clearly just minutes ago we saw this individual behind the wheel kind of rear-ending one of these innocent cars, just person on the freeway as he's trying to make its way through this area for no reason, ramming into the back of another car. So
This guy's been driving like a nut. He did ram into another vehicle. He hit his side mirror there, over 100 miles an hour at times. Grand theft auto suspect reportedly stole this from Bakersfield.
The side on the right passenger side, as you see, it's dangling right there. So certainly made contact with another vehicle as this is traveling on the emergency lane right here, trying to zigzag through traffic and get away from the whole situation. But clearly, you never know what this person is going to do, which is why we're monitoring this and following this guy as I don't know where he's going to. Clearly, a lot of times they try to go to a neighborhood or to an area where they're familiar and they know, but the destination obviously unclear. As more drivers, look at that, become aware that something isn't right, something is happening with this guy behind the wheel of this white Expedition, and that's why they're trying to clear the way. But clearly when you're driving along the freeway, you don't expect this, but if you have your eyes open, you're looking at your mirrors and you see something weird, someone driving kind of strange, you get away from that vehicle if you can.
Definitely, you want to move away from that vehicle as quickly as possible. And of course, the lights and sirens from the California Highway Patrol that are following behind, probably alerting the public as well. Hey, there is something going on. You all need to be, heads up, heads on a swivel. Yep. Make sure you get out of the way if this vehicle is coming to your direction. Definitely the destination unknown at this time. And it's, and it continues southbound on that 5 freeway. Mid-City is where we are. Actually, I'm sorry, we're on the 10 10 freeway right now, and we're westbound on the 10. So we were basically moving south. Now we're starting to move west. And this is, anybody that drives this area knows that there's a lot of traffic out here as we're making our way over basically to the studios in West LA. So we're keeping an eye on it. Of course, California Highway Patrol, they just want to bring this thing to an end safely. And he hasn't seemed to be getting over to the right lanes at all. So clearly, the way this person's been driving, he can see the exit he wants, makes that move very, very quickly. But sometimes we've seen those suspects make their way over a little bit to go ahead and hit one of those off ramps. Right now, though, he seems to feel very safe out here on the freeway. And again, getting very close to that box truck. I mean, tapping that is just, it isn't going to do anything for him, I can tell you that. And everybody stopped. There's something going on right there. You got a van trying to get off going across the Gore Point. Very typical Los Angeles driving right there. But a lot of slow traffic. People are starting to get over, probably because they're hearing those sirens and they're trying to get out of the way. But right now, it might actually be clearing that path for that suspect. But in any case, the safety of the public is what they are concerned about. If they're making way for that suspect so that he can get through there, nobody's hurt, that's fine with law enforcement. I can guarantee it.
That's right, but at some point you think, oh, wow, if he's trapped in, what is he going to do? Maybe that's a way for them, CHP, to get him, but this is not a video game, clearly. This is reality, and you want to make sure that people stay safe out there. But yeah, once he was behind that box car and box truck, you kind of wondered, oh, is he going to make a move, right? Maybe get out, or what was he going to do if he's trapped in traffic? But clearly, safety is the #1 priority as we are continuing to watch this guy make his way on the 10 freeway right there westbound. He's now going towards the right-hand lanes, but he's going now to the center lanes, and we don't know where the final destination is.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a better look at that front tire. I'm wondering if that's getting low up down there. Maybe you guys have a better vantage point. I have great monitors, don't get me wrong, but it is a little, it definitely looks like it's going flat.
Yeah.
That's going to add to the issues as well. You know, and I was going to bring that up. California Highway Patrol always has the ability to maybe get ahead of it, throw out some spike strips, especially when suspects are riding in that far right lane, that emergency lane, or that #1 lane. But yeah, that driver's side, the passenger side front, definitely going low.
Yeah.
That's going to be an issue for sure. That bad shocks, bad flat tire, that SUV is going to really start getting a workout. I'm worried about the control that driver's going to have. Well, definitely we're going to stay here to see how this plays out. But again, the suspect wanted for burglary is the original want, but who knows what kind of issues that driver has. Maybe he has other.
Yeah, I wonder how much gas is in the tank.
But California Highway Patrol, the only thing they want right now is safety and get that suspect off the road.
Look at it. It looks like he's driving on a rim right now on the right side. Passenger front tire
like maybe
right
damaged
there. The tire's so low, it looks like it's skidding on the rim. You know, from the beginning we got on this, it looked like this vehicle was wonky, right?
There it goes.
I was always telling you, there it goes. It's shredding the tire right there. But it was always wonky because of the way this SUV was bouncing from the back. I've never seen that.
No.
So it kind of made me think like maybe there was a pit maneuver earlier on before we got up on this, but something was debilitating this vehicle, and now look at that tire.
Yeah, that tire's going to come off. Hopefully it doesn't damage anybody's car as it rolls around there on the freeway. He is starting to slow down a little bit, and, you know, that's actually a positive. Maybe that driver's starting to think, you know, he doesn't want to hurt himself. He doesn't want to hurt somebody else. You know, that might be starting to go through his mind, and as soon as I say that, he's bumping the speeds up, almost doubling what we were doing earlier on. That big SUV definitely can handle something like that, I am sure, but it's still just going to limit the ability for that vehicle to stop or turn. As far as those rear shocks on there, you know, I've seen cars like that in the past, especially older vehicles that have not been maintained well. But right now, it looks like we're starting to move a little bit off to the right. But that does. He's got 2 flat tires. He has 2 flat tires.
Crazy.
I wonder if did we miss a pit? I mean, did we miss a spike strip?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I feel like somehow, some way, there goes the tire completely. that this car was debilitated somehow, either with a pit maneuver or something. Maybe before we picked up on this, because it was not driving normally. That is for sure. Erratic driving.
Look at those cops, man.
Okay, as it stops right here, you could see CHP, doors open, officers out. Are they approaching?
Definitely, and they're not going to make any kind of approach. This is a burglary suspect. Possibility of that person being armed is what they're going to be waiting on. But this guy definitely seems to have played this game before. Hands out of the windows down, hands out almost right away. And, you know, this is actually a huge positive that once that vehicle became so disabled, he basically just stopped it. He said, okay, that's it. We're going to bring this to an end. Doors opening up, but he's getting out. It is still is tense moments for the officers and, of course, myself as well, maybe even some of the viewers, but it clearly has played this game before. He's got his hands on his head, walking back. They are definitely going to be calling out what they want him to do, but this does definitely seem to be coming to an end peacefully. We're on the, you can see it right there, Cheviot Hills, and we're going to be on the West 10 near Overland. I can tell you that traffic's probably backing up really quick. People are probably like, we don't want to see the traffic, we want to see him. Yeah, he's just walking back, and hopefully they're going to take him into custody very quickly. The dog, they're putting him away. And right now, that suspect, he's going to be getting those cuffs here in just a moment, getting him into custody. California Highway Patrol, Sandra, they are quick. They're going to get this freeway open very, very fast, get their cars out of the road, off the road, but they want to make sure that that vehicle is cleared, meaning there is nobody inside that vehicle besides the driver, and after that, I'm sure they're going to reopen that 10 freeway quickly.
This is a great ending, what we want to see, a peaceful ending to this pursuit of a robbery suspect, which started in Santa Clarita, taking us through, I guess, southbound toward the West LA Cheviot Hills area as they clear the car right here. And what a mess. The car definitely debilitated, possibly by a pit maneuver. But at one point, seeing this driver bump in and rear end an innocent bystander, somebody in a vehicle right there, it could have been much, much worse, obviously, as we saw the erratic driving, the weaving and bobbing in and out of traffic throughout the freeway right there. But again, this is the ending we'd like to see, a peaceful, calm ending, nobody hurt in all of this,
mostly peaceful
and CHP doing what it does best.
Definitely, and that driver, that suspect in custody right now, definitely not a very friendly driver. That is for sure.
He nasty.
I'm sure nobody was injured, but bumping into other cars for no reason, that was really peculiar. I wonder what was all about. But right now, he's in custody. Officers, they're doing their little briefing. You can see them making their way back to their cars.
They need to take him for experimentation and scientific study.
Right now, though,
examine his brain. They need to drug test his ass,
too. They're going to have some lanes open here in just a moment. Again, this is on the westbound 10 in the Cheviot Hills area. Send it back to you, Sandra.
All right, Stu, up in Skyfox and the crew, thank you for that. As you guys have been watching this pursuit of a robbery suspect come to an end, we appreciate you joining in. Fox 11, of course, will have much.
Look at those triple digits in the Coachella Valley by midweek next.
Man, what a day, what a day.
On Instagram, the new pope will be using the handle at Pontifex. It's the same handle the Vatican used for Pope Francis on social media platforms.
Over an hour ago, Magic Mountain and Newton Division tried to pull this person over. The chase began. And Annabelle, we saw speeds up to 100 miles per hour through traffic at the noon hour.
Yeah,
subscribe
right.
before you leave.
Monitoring the situation, but look at that.
Don't leave me.
This is some bad news for all of these drivers who are just trying to get to their destination. Again, this is the 10 freeway. Am I mistaken here? Am I correct?
This is the 10 freeway. I'm panning the camera east right now. This is going to be on the westbound side of the 10 at Overland, and traffic is backed up now for miles because they've got the westbound side completely shut down for the termination of this pursuit. If you want to get around it, your best bet is probably going to be Venice Boulevard. You can see cars exiting there, but I'm panning back west, back to where this pursuit has come to an end. And yes, it was just the driver in that white SUV. They checked it. They gave the all clear, no passengers, and you can see that driver wearing the white T-shirt being put in the back of a squad car here.
Julia, I counted about 9 units behind this car.
Yeah, 9 units, and then you've got that motorcycle pulling up, and then don't forget about the LAPD helicopter overhead that Jonathan spotted, and big thanks to Jonathan for helping out with our coverage from the ground. I can't remember the last time we had one of our NBC News vans on the ground behind a pursuit as News Chopper 4 was
really the NBC van was chasing after
traffic that he's sitting in now if he is westbound on the 10 freeway, and for this to be happening in the afternoon, I mean, this is just not ideal. So again, this was southbound on the 5 before going through the East LA interchange, and then west on the 10, and it has finally come to a stop here in Culver City. But to get around this, I'd recommend doing exactly what these drivers are doing, exiting the freeway and taking Venice Boulevard instead. Look at them just driving through the Gore Point. But CHP, they've got their hands full. They're not pulling over any of these cars.
God, that's some bad news for all of these drivers. Again, there are some alternate rounds, but we definitely want you guys to be safe out there. All right, it is 12:52. I'm Annabelle Sedano.
And I'm Kathy Vara. Here are a few more local stories.
All right, thank you guys. I'm about to jump on and cover Diddy part 2 of today. Yo, subscribe, like, join the mailing list. We're going to talk about Diddy. You motherfuckers come back. I know some of y'all leaving. Y'all just here for the chat. Y'all bitch to come. All right, love you. Going to transfer you to the next stream. Here's the link in the chat if you don't get transferred. I know 2% of you will come, but link in the chat in case. We'll be back in like 10 minutes. Diddy the Diddler. I'm sleepy. I was actually kind of feeling sleepy during that. Y'all bitch to come. All right, love you. Gonna transfer you to the next stream. Here's the link. Freak off time. Oh, it's freak off time. Y'all ready? Wendy, thank you. Oh, it's freak off time. By the way, if you missed today's part 1, I cut it up. I chopped it up. We were there for like we were there for about an hour. The last stream, the Diddy stream, and out, we covered 4 hours in 1 hour, or whatever it was. So check out this morning stream. I think we're going to be doing that, so I don't have to sit all day. Here's the link. Wait, why am I doing that? Oh, there we go. There's the link to the next Diddy stream. The Diddler.